Jasper?
Yes?
What do you know about your cousin Alex?
Well, I know he ain't in Tupelo, Mississippi anymore.
Did he get? How did he get out? What was law enforcement?
The aliens took him. You know, and I'm not talking about the ones south of the border. I'm talking about those other ones. You know, the tall, skinny, blue ones. You know, they kind of look like a blue tuna, except without the tuna.
Do those aliens really exist? I think that's just a fairy tale that the left-wing media has been pushing on us for years.
Well, you know, it's true that anything's possible.
But the more you drink, the more aliens you'll see.
I have a feeling, Jasper, that this is going straight up to YouTube this evening. You want to drink to that?
Here you go. Here's to Earth. Here's to all of us on the front lines, the back lines, and who don't even know we're in line. Well, I photograph much better in the dark, you know. I photograph much better in the dark.
All right. You got the giggles? Well, here, I got a couple questions for Mr. Collierin here.
Okay, we're getting serious now?
We are.
Okay.
So, Alex, you know, it dawned on me that 14 years ago, Easter weekend, 1995, that we last got together and did an interview of any kind. So,
I had no idea it was the same weekend.
Yeah, Easter weekend.
Wow.
14 years later.
An interesting coincidence.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's a pleasure. Sorry it took 14 years to do it again.
I'm glad we're getting the chance today. Hey, so, you know, in the last few years, there's been an awful lot going on in the United States, and I think a lot of people have changed their view of what the United States is really all about. I think they've come to realize that some of the things that we've been doing, that we've allowed our government officials to do, haven't really been in our best interests. Well, tell me about your perception about the direction the United States is headed.
Well, you know, the country is always a reflection of its people. And it is my opinion that, yes, we have a governmental bureaucracy that claims to love America, but clearly by its actions and the laws and the way it's beginning to attack the citizenry, it hates Americans. But really, who's to blame for that? I mean, it's very easy to blame the government, but the government essentially is just our voted representatives. I mean, there is a bureaucracy around that government that manages and does the day-to-day grunt work, but essentially, you know, it's the Congress and the Senate and the executive branch, who we vote for, who we've put into office. Now, I've said this, back in the early 90s, 92, 93, 94, I was saying a lot of this was coming. And you know, really, who do we have to blame? And quite frankly, Rick, we have ourselves to blame. It's the citizens' fault. We abdicated management of the government to a group of politicians who are allowed to take campaign contributions from private industry, from corporations, from the military-industrial complex to do their bidding. We got on with our lives, I guess, mistakenly trusting that our representatives, when they took the oath of office, actually meant it. Obviously, they didn't. Because now what we have is a horrible situation. We have a government that isn't in any way, shape, or form a representative of the Constitution or even the Bill of Rights. In fact, those two documents barely exist at all. The government isn't acting like they exist, and they're going to continue to do what they want to do or what their bidding is, what they're being told to do. So let me put it to you that way, what they're being told to do. So, it's the people. We screwed up. We didn't manage the government. We didn't pay attention to what they were doing. As long as there was food on the shelves, as long as gas was cheap, as long as everybody was working, nobody cared. But guess what? Reality's hit home now. Now we have a government spending our dollar into absolute oblivion. We also have devaluation of the dollar. The chickens are coming home to roost, and now everybody's beginning to wake up and saying, oh my God, what the hell have these guys been doing? And, now we know. It's out there, and it's at a point where they're not even bothering to hide it anymore. So, what the question really comes down to is this. America is changing dramatically, and it's changing very, very fast. And it really comes down to a very simple premise, in my perspective. Do you want freedom and liberty, or do you want socialism? Now, there are some dramatic differences between the two. One requires self-responsibility and self-government. The other is you become a natural resource of the state, and they will tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And if for any reason, at any time, they decide they no longer need you, as Henry Kissinger so aptly put it, then we all become useless eaters. So this is where it's at. There is no really middle road as I see it. I think everybody waiting for one man to do something, for example, President Obama, to change the company, to change the government, to change the world, is ridiculous. He is just one guy, and the governments of the world are not run by offices, they're run by corporations. They're run by corporations, and those corporations are run by a program. And that program essentially has control of everything. It controls the money, it controls the technology, it controls the governments, it controls the media. And some of the personages within that program are not us. They're extraterrestrial. And I know many people will say, oh, that can't be, it never happened. Well, it doesn't matter at this point what they think. What is what is. And that's where we are. And now it's all coming to the forefront. And the next couple of years are going to be just the most interesting and the most full of growth opportunities for people. Dark night of the souls for many people. And an opportunity to not only change the way we live, but also the way to change our perspectives on how we want to live. And, really think about what really is important. Is it the money? Is it the dollar? Is it the big car? Is it the $1 million home? It isn't any of that. It's our family and it's our friends. We don't need all this crap. We just don't. What's important is who we are. Where are we going with ourselves? Have people looked inside themselves and said, I do all this work, I support